Hello, everybody. Welcome to Button Smash.
What up?
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? In here, out there, everyone who's been listening on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, on iHeartRadio, everywhere you listen to a podcast, watching our VODs on youtube.com/VRRogueMatter. Thanks, everybody who's been tuning in live here on twitch.tv/VRRogueMatter, being active in the chat. Yeah, what's going on? Using your free Amazon Prime accounts to link that to your Twitch account, giving us a nice little subscribe for free. Thank you very much for that. Tonight, we're going to be talking about several things that happened in the video game industry, as we are the only gaming podcast that says it with its chest. It's
Yeah. You got it.
Yes. Together,
Oh, yeah.
strong. Together,
Ape
strong.
must not kill ape.
Man has made fire.
It's so good.
Rogue will not kill rogue.
On tonight's cast, we've got TV's Casey.
The ever gregarious TV's Casey.
We've got Doc Chris.
The sometimes gregarious Chris, but not quite as gregarious as TV's Casey.
And I'm your host here to the Bad Coyote Funky, the gregarious Bad Coyote. Shouts out to our boy Greg, who's at home with his family and his loved ones. And our boy Jay with his girl. Happy Chinese New Year, everybody. There's that too going down tomorrow on Friday. All right, everyone. There's been lots of stuff happening recently. Currently, something that's very prevalent, the hack at CD Projekt Red. What's good with that?
Listen, you thought that after the whole CyberPunk 2077 debacle, like that, it couldn't get weirder. Could not get weirder.
It can get weirder.
It can get
Unless-
weirder because apparently
unless-
someone has gotten the source code of both Cyberpunk 2077, I believe also The Witcher 3 as well, and is basically holding it ransom. And is threatening to release it to the general public unless they meet their demands. But guess who's not going to meet
A
their
paltry
demands?
sum of $1 million.
Dun dun Corporal got in and it's ransom time. They corporal their way in there. It's so insane. If this game released the way it was intended to, this person or these people would have been like, it's fine. We don't need to do anything. Now they're just like, I'm so mad. This game that I wanted to play wasn't much playable, and now I'm hacking you and stealing your stuff. Wait, what? Wait, huh?
Listen,
Okay.
I know I wear many hats on this program, but allow me to just put on the tinfoil one real quick.
Uh-oh.
I think this whole thing is a hoax. I really do. I appreciate a conspiracy theory as much as the next guy, but I feel like, one, they posted the ransom note, which is, in a word, straight goofing, because it looks like it was written by a 13-year-old who thinks like Leet and Pwned are still cool. And all this really does, or at least what I think, is it's something to garner sympathy, because CD Projekt Red has gotten pretty much nothing but bad press since the release of this game. And with, all of their information and stuff being out there and this huge security breach, it gives them more time, or like an understandable amount of time, to work on the development of actually fixing this game. Wink, wink. The
I don't
timing
know about-
just seems way too convenient.
I don't know about
Suspect.
that. Like they're stabbing themselves in the foot with this whole PR thing. I mean, any PR is good PR, right? But okay, so the whole thing pans out where they're just like, they need more time to fix this game, so they need to kind of get like a speed bump going. But at the same time, like I don't know. I mean, the reputation is already damaged. Like they're already down in the dumps, and these guys or these people are just like, hey, we're gonna get him where it hurts. If this is an inside job, I don't see it panning out to where it's to their benefit. It just adds on more crap to the crap pile they have.
Listen,
I don't know, man.
If they get caught, obviously it's just going to sink.
It's worse.
them
It's even
lower.
worse if they get caught.
Right, but how much lower can you go than this? Like, their stock, I don't mean literally, but I mean, stock in the community has never been lower. Like,
Their stock also went down as well.
Yeah, they're
I'm
substantially.
I mean, there's a
Yes.
class action suit going on against them.
Yeah.
Like, we know all this, but I also think that there's not much lower you can go. Like, because what if it did come out that it's like, oh, they faked this? Like, well, like what else? What do we expect from a company that released a barely finished game to market, completely untested on last gen consoles?
I mean, I think it's a combination of the two. I bet you that someone actually did get in, and what they're doing is they're actually like. I do think that this probably really happened. However, it's weird how forthcoming they have been about this whole thing when they were not forthcoming about stuff in the past. And I feel like this is probably something that they would have that. A company that has been under hot water probably would have kept under wraps until they had it resolved and then said this is something that we dealt with. However, I think that they're probably leveraging this situation to try to garner some pity.
Yeah.
That's the way I view it, at least. Like, something's going down, but let's see if we can not take this negative and turn it into a positive. Time for lemonade, guys.
Part of me is kind of waiting for the hackers to reach the fuck around and find out sort of phase. Like, do you guys remember when HBO got hacked and these guys were pumping out episodes of Game of Thrones when they refused to give in to their demands?
They released like 2 episodes, didn't they?
They did one, and then HBO was like, "We're still not doing it," and then they released 2 more, and they're like, "Wait, like hold on, we knew you were serious. We're just we're just testing the waters, testing your resolve. No big deal."
Yeah,
it's
I wonder where this whole thing is heading to, because what do they? I mean, in the end, they just want money. Or they want to embarrass them, because the note made it seem like they were doing this for a performance thing, right? It's like, oh, you hurt us as gamers, you hurt us in our feelings and our fifis. Now we're going to hurt you. Also, pay us. Like, what?
Give me money for chicken tendies.
It's so odd. So I mean, they have to know CD Projekt Red, if they give in to the demands, like this is, if you give us a cookie, it's going to want milk, right? So this is going to keep going on and on and on.
You can't win.
Yeah, like, so what's the real end game here? So if it is an inside job, it's supposed to garner sympathy for them, but no one is giving them sympathy, because they're just like, yo, you guys goofed, you done effed up.
They are. I'm seeing like a lot of like big, I don't want to say big names, but like people like Jesse Cox and like streamer, YouTuber type people. Mm-hmm. You don't know Jesse Cox?
Who? Omega Lol? Anyway, yeah, I mean, like, I see a lot more people being like, yo, if this is for sympathy, it's not working. You guys messed up. Fix it. People still want to play this game. People still want to make it happen. I personally uninstall it, because I'm just like, yo, I'm not dealing with hackers. I'm not doing that whole thing. I don't know what's going on. Like, I just install. Just absolutely get it out. I didn't even like beat the game or anything. I mean, at a certain point, I'm just like, yo, I can't play this game. It's unplayable to a certain point, as the game progresses, as there's more things coming on screen, as you go further down the line. More things happen in the game, and like, I've got a good rig, and even people who had more powerful rigs than me couldn't run this damn thing, and they were trying to play it, and it's just like, all right, I gotta power through it because this is my job to play it, but I can't. I don't know, man. So it's gonna be interesting to see what the end game of this is. Yeah. Speaking of end games, or games in general,
that never end. Games that never end.
Games that never end. Games that resurface all the time. The Epic Store is going to be bringing Kingdom Hearts to PC players
at the low price of $60 per game.
At the low price of full price.
The first one is only $50. Well, let's not get crazy.
True.
For a game that came out in 2002, if I'm not mistaken. Oh my god!
$60 for a 19-year-old game. What is this, Nintendo? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I mean, went on sale for like, I think Kingdom Hearts 3 like 2 weeks ago was on sale for like $15 on like Amazon or Best Buy or something like that. It was like under 20.
Yeah,
but
it makes absolute no sense. Okay, like, I'm glad they're bringing it to PC so you can enjoy it without bringing, like an old console in here or whatever you have. But at the same time, it's just like, what are you doing charging full price for these old games? Like, who is sitting in a boardroom? It's just like, all right, people love this game. They love this property. We're going to charge full price for it. $60 first. Like, $60. Of course, the first one is $50, and then $60. So you're going to pay over like $200 some to play this old game. Like, what?
You think this Disney license comes cheap? They're going to take the shirt off my back if we don't pay.
Yeah,
it should be $60 for the whole thing.
Price. Yeah. It should be $60 for the whole thing. How is each one of these games $60?
If you're a PlayStation guy, can't you get like the quote unquote complete collection?
Yeah.
Like everything up until 3 for the price of a full game?
Yes.
I think you can now.
That is correct.
Like you get like your I don't even know where to begin with the names of these editions. It's like
Oh yeah, 1.8 to Dream Drop
1.9
Distance
final
2.5 and
yeah.
1.5 and 2.8.
365 over 2 days.
Yeah, so the first one is Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5 remix. That's $50, and you have Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 final chapters, which is like they have like the in between games too. That one's $60, and you have Kingdom Hearts 3 plus Remind. That's $60, and then you got Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memories, which is like a Guitar Hero type game for Kingdom Hearts, existed, which is like $60. So you got Kingdom
Hearts,
very
good. I tried it.
I
tried the demo.
It looked terrible. It looked terrible. So you got Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3, the in-between games and all that, and they're all HD remastered, which is why they have the funky names like Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5, and they're $50, 60, 60, and 60. It's like, who are you?
Yeah.
Who do you think you are? Who is the person? Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say that second collection too. It's really it's the game Dream Drop Distance, which is a port from 3DS. The 2DS game Birth by Sleep, but you can't. Not Birth by Sleep. Actually, it does contain Birth by Sleep. I lied. But there's also one of the games, the 365 over whatever math game, you can't even play. It's just literally just the cutscenes, and then a 3-hour like tech demo for Kingdom Hearts 3 that they refer to as like Kingdom Hearts 2.8, which was pretty cool.
Phone game too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which the video of that is also included in, I don't know, one of these titles. I don't remember which one. I actually did a run of all of the games leading up to the release of Kingdom Hearts 3, and I did it. I beat Kingdom Hearts 3, and I'm glad I did it. But oh my god, it was a lot of game. But I also did not spend like $180 doing this, like performing this task.
Oh, here, and live for our chat, the all-in-one package is literally $25 in PlayStation Store right now.
Exactly, which is everything but the Melody game.
Yeah, so I'm wondering who was sitting in the boardroom with a bunch of people and was just like, hey, this is for PC gamers. I don't get it, because, okay, you're listening to PC, which is great. It's all the HD remixes, which is great. I personally like the Kingdom Hearts series. I thought it was great, minus 3 for whatever reasons. But yeah, okay, so you're listening to a PC port. We've already played these games. I mean, I would like to play these games again, and have it on PC is a great thing. So what are we really paying for? We're not really, I mean, this is all digital, and this is such an old game. So why is it full price $60 for all these things? So you expect there to be, I mean, there probably is somebody out there who's going to pay for, let's be real, somebody's going to pay for all of it.
You got to be out of your fucking mind.
You got to be out of your goddamn mind.
A PC gamer is going to pay full price for an old game in a world where Steam exists?
I wonder who is this person, like, sitting in the room and pitched it to their boss, and then they okayed this and put this out. It's insane. It's actually an experiment in insanity. It actually is. And the bad thing about it is, like, there's going to be people who will be like, oh, this is great. I have money. Here you go. Whatever. And they're going to make some sales. I mean, they're not going to make a ton of sales. We're going to make some.
If once this actually, I'm guaranteed this is going to go on sale in the next few months, and it's probably going to sell like gangbusters, because like they are phenomenal games. But again, not for $50-$60 a pop at this moment, where you, again, if you have a PlayStation 4 or you can get for $25. Done deal.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
All of it.
Insane. Speaking of insane things, Crash Bandicoot 4. What's going on with that, Chris?
Crash Bandicoot 4, which was when on release a PlayStation 4 exclusive. Actually, no, I lied. It was PS4 and Xbox One. But it is now getting updated for kind of new updates for PS5 and Xbox Series X, and joining on the Switch alongside some of the other Crash titles, such as the Insanity Trilogy and the Insane Trilogy and Crash Team Racing. So that's cool. I probably would have played this on Switch if it was available when it
I was gonna say this dropped. Is a perfect title for the Switch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a great game. It's hard.
Yeah, that's right. You played through the whole thing. What was your overall review for people who haven't touched the game?
If you like classic Crash, it's same stuff that you're used to. They add another dimension with a couple other playable characters. There's only a few levels, so if you're not into that, like, that's fine. You're not playing with those characters too much. And then they add another dimension as well with the different mask abilities that you get. That each level is kind of very tailor made, where you every once in a while come across a mask and then have to get through those jumping obstacles using the mask's ability, like one that switches you between two realities, one that gives you this kind of super spin hover ability, and one that flips gravity. But yeah, if you're a Crash fan, yeah, it's a must play. It's great.
Hey, especially on that Switch. And speaking of games that are fun to play, I mean, man, I love these games. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. What's going down with that?
This is why I bought a PS5, guys. Is to play this one game.
We bought it in January for a game that comes out in June.
That's true. And again, I wasn't like hardcore looking until, you know, I mean, I still wasn't hardcore looking. I just got the chance that it popped up and I was like, sweet, I'm going to jump on this. But now I'm pumped because we are going to be getting Ratchet and Clank in the first half of the year. And especially I talked about it a couple of episodes ago about me playing Asher's Playroom and me like really feeling like, oh yeah, this has got some Ratchet and Clank feeling vibes, or especially like Clank feeling vibes. Yeah, Daddy wants some Insomniac long back shooter. That's what's going on.
This thing on PS5 is going to be insane. Like it's just going to be insane.
It's only on PS5 too, as well. For the record, most other titles are being released on PS4 and PS5. This is going to be one of the first titles that is released exclusively on PS5.
Damn, you know, it's gonna be dope. I mean, just look at all the particle effect. Like, I love how they jam-packed everything technical into this thing. Just so it's kind of like a PS5 technical demo, right? I mean, 100%. You have some of the other games that are out right now that are sort of like that, but they're like, yo, we're gonna throw in mad particles, lots of things you can break, and Ratchet and Clank's known for their crazy weapons. You know, like you got, you know, like guns that turn things into matter, that break things apart, put them back together, turn characters into completely different characters. And now in this one, you're going through like different rifts in time and portals, and they're just throwing like everything at it. And then when you see the gameplay demo, they're like, this is on PS5. It's gonna be crazy if you have a PS5. I think it's gonna be great, especially that it's family friendly. So boom, even more sales. So people who were able to buy it for little Tommy and Timmy stuff like that, they're just like, well, don't really want my kid playing Demon's Souls, and they've already played, you know, Miles Morales. So this thing's gonna do gangbusters. Because I mean, just looking at it, it's freaking gorgeous. The weapons are insane. The characters are fun, and for the adults who already know these characters, you know, feel a little bit of nostalgia. For the kids who haven't even like play this thing yet, I mean, like they're aesthetically pleasing, they're very fun, and just all the stuff that's going on screen at one time, just throwing it at the PlayStation. I really think they're just like, yo, how can we push this thing to the max to
they
really show
they got
what it's
maps
gonna
on
do.
maps on maps, baby.
Yeah,
it already looked amazing. So like the kind of remake / reboot that they did for PS4 already looked and played like amazing, super smooth, and was like incredible. So like this, but a lot of the level design in the last few games kind of definitely felt like the very PS2, where they're kind of sparse, and it was like, okay, I walk down this corridor and then I have things I can smash and then just the enemies. But like looking at some of the stuff, that there's so much more going on. There's like the environments look so much more alive than just like I'm going into a level of a video game. Which, you know, obviously there's still a little bit of that, but there's a lot more to make these worlds feel lived in, which is cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Moving right along, Ubisoft is shifting away from AAA releases. Wait, what?
Yeah, they had, I think it was an earnings call, where they were talking about kind of their strategy going forward, is not to put so much like stock into these big titles that they're releasing, like for instance most recently Assassin's Creed Valhalla, right? And this actually does kind of make sense if you think about the last few Assassin's Creed. Like they've been supporting those games and releasing more DLC, like even a year or like months and years after the initial release. I don't see this as a bad thing. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff going around the industry about the amount of effort it takes to put together these AAA games and what is the actual return on that investment when you just like cram everything into this super long game. And I'm guessing that Valhalla kind of broke the camel's back on this one a little bit in development. So if they concentrate more on, like, they'll still have AAA games, but they can spread them out more and make room for some of the smaller titles to give people more games to play. And, maybe they're shorter and less detailed, but in a lot of cases, the amount of time you spend on particle effects, is that really going to bring a much better gaming experience?
It's a bold move, Cotton. It's a
More
bold
publish, less develop, more
It
money.
more publish. More publish, let's develop. No catch, only throw.
no, only thing.
Only throw. Oh, it's so good. Speaking of good things, maybe.
Maybe.
Depending on how you. It could be
don't
depending
know
on
yet.
depending on how you take this or not. Anthem's next update is being reviewed by EA.
Yes. So, everyone remembers Anthem, right? Who's the greatest game to come out? It killed Destiny. No one's playing Destiny anymore. They're all playing Anthem.
Destiny
That's the thing.
Slayer.
Yeah.
Destiny Slayer. Yeah. This game came out. They were super hype. It's basically, a lot of people refer to it as the Iron Man game, where you basically get into a mech suit or power suit. You can fly around and shoot things. But the game did not play very well, tied with loading screens at weird times, just an overall confusing hub world, a loot system that was just super broken. Like if you got loot, you couldn't actually get and use that loot until you finished the mission, and then you got the loot, and then you could equip it and use it. So after this kind of whole debacle with BioWare's title Anthem, they have been working on kind of doing a huge overhaul of this game. They said, we've heard your feedback. We're going to work on the game, and that's what they've been doing. So it sounds like they have a pretty good draft of what they want to see, and because BioWare is under the EA publishing title, they've actually submitted it to EA for their review to figure out, is this something we're going to continue to support and continue to develop on, or are we just going to leave it as is and not worry about it?
It's really sad when you think about it, because I remember playing the early on version of Anthem, right? And if anyone doesn't know, Anthem has such a crazy development story where the developers didn't know what they were making in the beginning. They started making it not knowing what it was, but they continued making it because they were employed. And the part I love about the development of the Anthem story real quick is that the developers are very compartmentalized. It's like, okay, you guys over here work on this part, you were here working this part. And whenever they asked for some kind of team cohesion, like, hey, I need to know what I'm doing here so I can work. So I'm going to go talk to that person over there. They're just like, no, you just work on this, do that. And on the management was just, it was so bad. So when E3, the Electronic Entertainment Expo, came around, the big showcase, they fudged together a trailer of what Anthem was supposed to be. And when they played it and the developers saw it, it was such a crazy thing that they were just like, wait a minute, this is what we're supposed to be making? That's what we're supposed to be doing? What? How is that supposed to work? So you have this person for this department, like, wait, how am I supposed to make that work with? And then another person from another department, like, wait, am I supposed to, hey, hang on, wait a minute. That's such an insane thing to happen.
They kept going back.
Everything. We're fucked.
They kept going back and forth on whether or not you were going to be able to fly. That's how, and in all the trailers and stuff, and one of the most fun things that people say about this game, the one mechanic that actually works is the flying mechanic, and they didn't know whether or not they were going to actually put that in the game. That was a conversation that went on after they already released that EA video. That demo.
It's so crazy. Yeah, part of that big story was that they had a working version of Anthem, which people say, the Iron Man simulator Destiny killer, where all the javelins, which are the mechs that you wear and run around in the world and shoot and stuff like that, where they were all on the ground, where you didn't fly at all. And when the management higher-ups came into that meeting and they saw that version, they were playing it for a little bit, they're like, yeah, this doesn't work. This is not as good. We need them flying again. And they had 7 years to make this thing, and in the last couple months they did crunch and they pushed the developers to the max just to get this thing going. It was such a disaster. And when the game came out, you can tell it was undercooked, absolutely undercooked. It was such a big controversy, and it had promise. I mean, I liked it for a certain point for what it was. All the different javelins do different things. Like you have your big tanker, you got your nuker that kind of shoots out lightning. You got your all around Iron Man javelin, and you got another one that's kind of nimble, like your rogue type. They had something going here, and so it kind of sucks that they were very ambitious making this game, and now we might not see it ever again because they might just stop working on it altogether.
I bought this game for $12, I think less than or just over a year after launch title.
I got it at a yard sale.
A digital freaking yard sale. I would love to see a redemption story with this game. I didn't play much of it, like maybe the first 2 hours or so. And I think the elements certainly have potential. It's just locked behind, again, just these gateway doors because everything was so compartmentalized and they couldn't make it all run smoothly together.
Yeah, they promised us a big open world. We can do X, Y, and Z. When you're in that big open world, it felt empty. It felt like nothing was going on, and you kind of felt for. You kind of get a sense of like what Bungie did with Destiny. Like you really appreciated it, seeing another game attempt something similar, and you were just like, oh man, like I can't believe they were able to do this. But yeah, we'll see what the future holds for that. And speaking of the future, because we still live in a COVID world, certain things have to remain online only, which is very sad because I miss conventions, I miss going to cons, but hey, the world is what it is right now. So E3, the Electronic Entertainment Expo, is going to be all digital. So it's good with that.
Yeah, you sure love the hands-on experience of being to try out the latest new things in gaming from the comfort of your home.
Listen, you're saying that like you've been to E3. Like most of us experience it from the comfort of our own homes anyways. Unless you're in the industry, you're probably not getting front row seats. I know, and it sucks too because it was my dream to go to E3 just to experience it because I love going like the PAX and the Comic-Con and stuff like that. But E3 was like the big huge like the show for it, and it kind of makes sense because like you kind of don't need these trade shows anymore, especially since Nintendo showed you can just do a direct and people will still be hyped for whatever you got. But even still, just being there is a whole like other experience of being in the crowd. Because even when Nintendo does a direct, there's certain places like even in New York that showcase these things like in their stores. Like there's like a Nintendo store, there's like a Toys R Us, and these big places have huge screens, and people go there to see the latest drops. But I mean, I don't blame them for doing an all digital event this year. I mean, you can't have that many people in a convention hall. Absolutely cannot when we have COVID still not under control.
No one's allowed to have any fun, but now they bring it to you.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it could be best. I mean, so that's going to take place in June. I wonder if it's still going to take place over 3 days. I mean, it might, absolutely might. But yeah, it's sad that we're still in this COVID world. We all want it to end, but hey, we got to make sure everyone's safe before we can all have that fun,
Yeah, and even like last year when they did this digitally, or actually like 2 years ago wasn't that when PlayStation dropped out? Like a lot of the big titles haven't even included their stuff in there, and they have events that's kind of surround the E3 time, but the big thing that we get out of these is the previews for the titles that are coming up. And the same thing with like GDC as well. And GDC is more for the developers. E3 is more for the consumers, saying, "Hey, this is the showcase of what you might be able to see in the upcoming year." So like, I'm cool with them just switching to let's still show you some of the cool stuff that's coming up. I think it's better than it not happening at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and companies like Blizzard are doing the same thing where they've updated their schedule for BlizzCon this year. And I think that's the most news we got out of it. Like, did they say if they're going digital? I mean, they have to, right?
Yes, it is definitely going to be all digital. But they made that announcement actually a couple months ago, so this is not a surprise. But they finally kind of released their schedule, which for the most part is just like highlights the big titles. Obviously, I think I want to say
got Overwatch 2 behind the scenes of that. Got the voices of Overwatch. I always love seeing the voice cast members like come out and do their thing and be appreciated because hey, you can like COVID test a small crew of people and still have stuff like within like a certain convention hall. Mm-hmm. And film it and still have it all digital. StarCraft Legends behind the scenes, Overwatch, Diablo. What's next? Ooh, okay,
that's what I'm waiting for. Is I need a friggin' launch date for Diablo right now.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. I mean, they come out with that insane trailer,
Diablo
with Lilith and everything. I mean, let's get it popping.
That's right.
Hello, my friends. Stay a while.
And this is going to be February 19th and 20th, by the way. Opening ceremonies start on the 19th at 5 p.m. to 6:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, get on the lookout for if you got your tickets to see it live. Awesome. And by live, I mean streaming online. Or some of these smaller things. I think they usually do. Don't they usually actually have those opening ceremonies that anyone can watch, even if don't they stream that
even
live?
if you're they're always good at doing that.
It's the panels that you need to have the tickets for, if I'm not mistaken. So, but give it to me. I'm ready for it.
And something we won't really edit for and be on the lookout for, Nintendo Switch Concierge service. What's this?
So, let's say you get a Nintendo Switch and you don't really know how to use it. And you want someone to give you a tour or maybe game recommendations. It's a new service that if you purchase a Nintendo Switch through an authorized provider, you get access to one complimentary, basically like a phone call or interaction with someone from Nintendo, where they can make recommendations, again, like recommendations of games that you might want to play, or even help setting up some tips and tricks, things like that. It's just a great way for folks that aren't super comfortable with the technology to be able to get more familiar with it, which I kind of wish that this happened like a year ago when everyone decided that they wanted to buy a Switch during lockdown.
Yeah, is this too late? I mean...
Yeah.
Are they still seeing a crazy amount of sales to justify this now? I mean, it's
in November they were.
Yeah, in November they definitely were. So you pick your topic. This session is all about you, so you choose the most relevant topic to talk about. We'll try to answer any questions you might have. Pick a date and time that works for you. Confirm your spot. Check your inbox. Confirm, and then chat with a Nintendo representative via a video call. Okay, so it's like a Zoom call or something.
Yeah.
And then you can select a service, select a time, what to play next, security and privacy, your Nintendo account, customization, a bunch of Nintendo Switch 101. It's so odd that they're doing this now, and I think they had like a service like this back in the day. Nintendo, they had like a Nintendo hotline, right?
They need to bring back the old like Nintendo Power hotline. God, we talked about, there was that video game documentary that was on Netflix a while back, and they did a whole episode about this. And it was so cool because as a kid growing up, I was like, oh man, I can't beat Casino Night Zone and Sonic. Who am I gonna call? And there was all kinds of these things, but Nintendo had their own, and this was in an age undreamed of, before the dawn of game FAQs, where you could just look it up or punch it in YouTube and watch a video. You literally called a guy who would pop open the game and play alongside you and figure it out, unless he already had the notes written down. It's like the most surreal experience. I would love something like that. I feel like it's almost like a lost relic of gaming, where there's just like a literal hotline you could call for like $5.95 a minute. Ask your parents before getting their credit card. All like that. The works. But this is neat. I mean, I love good customer service stuff. I've worked in customer service. And
I mean, customer service is always a nightmare for the customer service person. I mean, I'm wondering, like, was there really a demand for this? Are there really like enough parents? I wonder if like there was such an influx when people got their Switches over, when COVID dropped and people were being at home and you couldn't buy a Switch, and people were like adding Nintendo on Twitter or somewhere and be like, I need help, I'm so old and I don't know how technology works, please help me, Nintendo. And they're just like, well, you don't know how Twitter works. I don't know how you got here. You asked us for help, but here you go. Because like I've like talked to people about getting a Switch and made successful buys for Nintendo, and I'm just like, yeah, get this thing's great. They're like, oh, how does it work? And I'm like, here's this video, or you can look it up yourself, you muggle.
You plug it in, you turn it on.
Yeah. As someone who basically did this in another life for another company, like I do think that. Us enjoy, we're streaming on Twitch. We have our own podcast. Like, we're pretty tech savvy. There is a large population out there that just is not that needs help putting their email on their phone, just because it's something they don't do every day. They're not in it all the time. It's something that they use as a tool, not as like a hobby. And so for those folks that aren't super comfortable, I think this is an awesome service. I am curious to see how often it gets used, but maybe it'll blow up. Maybe they'll expand it hand-holding service. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I can only see this being a nightmare. Like, you have Lank in the chat who used to work in an insurance place, which I think Mercedes Concierge, and people would just call for literally anything. Imagine people just like calling into this Nintendo hotline, be like, "Hey, I turned on my Switch, and all right, I'm here now. Well, what do I do?" It's like, "Well, what do you want to do?" I don't know. You surprise me. Take me somewhere. Nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Speaking of muggles who have no idea what they're doing. Speaking of what we're doing, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about more topics. Stay tuned for the next part of Button Smash.
Hi, this is Michael Dolce, host of the Rogue Wave podcast. If you like comics, movies, TV, pop culture, and want inside access to the creators behind it, then you've come to the right place. Join us every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, streaming live on Facebook.com/RogueWavePodcast and Twitch.tv/RogueWavePodcast. New episodes available on all major podcasting apps immediately following the live stream. Rogue Wave Podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it.
And welcome back to Button Smash. Thank you all for listening on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, on anywhere you listen to a podcast, on your mobile apps, on your PC, wherever you are in this world. Thank you very much for tuning in live on twitch.tv/WeAreRogueMatter, joining in the live chat with all the beautiful people here. Yeah, the beautiful people. All right, everyone. Let's see what we got here. Coming up next on Button Smash, we're talking about, this... Interesting. It's so weird. It's so weird what's happening. Borderlands the movie. So Borderlands, if you guys didn't know, is going to be made into a major motion picture. And the casting choices, the casting that's been coming out time after time, announcement after announcement, has been interesting. So what's the latest that we got for the Borderlands movie?
Jack Black is Claptrap.
We've got beloved character actor Jack Black.
I freaking love Jack Black. Like, I will watch basically anything that he is in. And, I think this role, it's pretty good. Pretty good for him.
I mean, I like Jack Black, but I also agree with Casey in the offline chat that, like, it should be the guy who voices Claptrap.
That's Jim Ferranda as of Borderlands 3. The voice acting history of Claptrap has been a little wild. Because the first guy, David Eddings, got into a huge scrap with Randy Pitchford and was, out after the second one. And I didn't even know that because I just thought Claptrap sounded exactly the same.
Same.
Good job.
Yeah.
And this poor new guy, if you go on Jim Ferranda's Twitter and you look there's just a couple hours ago, there's just a single tweet that just says, "Oh."
Oh no.
Just, oh, period.
No.
And it's just oh man.
Oh no. Yeah. Really? Oh, that sucks.
He's yeah. No idea this guy is completely devastated that he wasn't asked to voice Claptrap again because,
that's wild. That's wild that that's how you find out because there's a Borderlands movie and you're a voice actor on the damn game of the fame of the reason why they were making this big old movie. And then
he's the
that's wild, bro. He's
the major non-human. He's the major non-human character, man.
Yeah,
he's your guy.
That's if there's anybody that's going to be consistent from game to movie, you'd think it would be Claptrap.
Yeah, I mean, and it's so crazy too because you don't need to cast a real like a physical Hollywood actor, right? I mean these voice actors do physicality in the booth, yeah, and you're supposed to be an actor so you can act out your voice lines, but you don't need a face. I mean, you get Jack Black. I mean, I like Jack Black, but I mean, his face isn't going to be shown unless they're going to do a weird thing where Claptrap looks different now just to, capitalize on getting Jack Black. So what, is he going to look different? He's going to look like Jack Black, but mechanical? Imagine they completely changed it, or they have like a holographic face that comes out of his eye socket. But yeah, it should be the voice of Claptrap. He's so recognizable, so beloved, so insanely crazy. And you can only get that from, Jack Black's a really good choice for doing insanely crazy and fun. But the voice actor for Claptrap should be in the movie, voicing Claptrap. That's insane.
Like, what are you gonna have that carries over? Like, that would have been like your one connection.
Yeah.
And they already have enough. They do already have like enough star power attached to this. Like I think we talked a bit about it last week. That
Charlize, not Charlize.
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett as Lilith.
Yeah, which is like I don't see that at all. I like Kate Blanchett, but yeah, I mean all the castings here are kind of interesting. You have Jamie Lee Curtis as Tannis. Okay, I don't see that.
Kevin Hart as Roland,
which is fine.
the world's shortest soldier.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's supposed to be this soldier.
He's so small. He's a tiny man.
Chad is saying it's basically like going to your concert of your favorite artist and the opening lyrics of your favorite song come up and Jack Black comes out and sing it. I mean, yeah, but also like I also love Tenacious D. So if I went to any of my concerts and Jack Black came out and just sang a friggin' line from anything, he can do that. He's a guy that can get away with it. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
But I do also understand the sentiment that he's totally stealing a bit of the thunder of one of the great parts of the Borderlands games. And I'm saying that as someone who's only played a few hours of Borderlands 2, but absolutely Claptrap is a highlight of that experience.
Yeah, I played all the Borderlands, and it really sucks that the guy reacted on his Twitter saying, "Oh, get wrecked."
Oh.
I'm sorry.
I mean, he was to his credit, to his credit, he wished Jack Black the best.
Oh, come on. Nobody ever believes that. Nobody ever believes that. Come on. I wish this person the best.
Hold on a second. Yeah, it was almost like it was like the loss of a child. Like, I'm just going to read this verbatim, right? So, I can't lie. It's a crushing disappointment. I thought about possibly being in the movie for years. I love Borderlands. I love Claptrap. It's absolute joy to be his voice for the games. Congratulations, Jack Black. I know you must love him too. Please take good care of him.
Oh, man.
My boy!
My God, sad.
My heart is just a puddle. Just gone.
Oh my God. Wow. I feel I felt that, dude. I felt that. Damn. That really sucks. Oh man. Yeah. Lank, yeah, but we're never gonna put someone who doesn't have a name recognition in a big role like that. I mean, but it's the property. It's Borderlands the movie coming from Borderlands the game, and you already have actors. You have voice actors, and this is a beloved robot. Like his voice is so distinct. And his character is so distinct, and he is that way, and he's loved this way and revered this way because of the voice actor. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I mean, whoever's in charge of this thing on the Hollywood side is just like, we need big names to get people to watch this thing.
They're throwing
and I'm surprised at every big name they get. They're just, I mean, the actors alone, huge money, lots of money. I mean, you got like Kate Blanchett, Jamie Lee Curtis, Jack Black, Kevin Hart. I mean, that's a lot of money you're throwing at a Borderlands movie. What?
A video game.
I mean, obviously they're working hard, and they're probably about like, listen, we got to make this video game movie like a movie. You know, let's not worry about the video game movie curse. We got to make this thing a thing. And man, that sucks. I feel for that dude. He got wrecked. Oh man. Speaking of video game movies, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 put out a little teaser.
A banging redone version of Emerald Hill Zone.
Love it. So we're gonna get Tails in this one. So if you saw Sonic 1, the movie, Miles Tails appeared at the end of the movie, and he flew off into the distance, and he looked pretty good too. And if you haven't seen the first Sonic movie, it's actually not bad. It's actually like I went in thinking that it was gonna be an absolute pile of trash. But I actually enjoyed it for what it was. And they got me right in the beginning when they had their own like Marvel-like logo, but it was Sega. It was all their games together. It was a close-up of Sonic, and then it panned out to a whole bunch of games, and it had a little tune, and then it went Sega. And I was like, oh, no, you got me. You got me. Got me. I don't know how many times I booted up my Sega Genesis playing a Sonic game and heard that, and I was like, let's go. Like, it just hit me right in my feels. Like, Tiny Surge was just like, oh, man, this is going to be great. They're seeing that up on the big screen and hearing that in the movie theater. I'm like, damn it, you bastards. But yeah, the movie wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. From going and thinking I'm going to not like it to watching the movie, I'm just like, oh, man, this is actually not bad. But yeah, if you guys have like a lazy afternoon, you don't know what to watch, and you haven't watched it yet, I would say
it's a fun
go
ride.
for it.
It's a fun ride.
Have you missed Jim Carrey in a comedic role for many years? Well, boy,
Yeah, Jim
Yeah.
Carrey
Good for
friggin'
you.
destroys.
He did. He knocked it out of the park. I actually laughed. You know, Ben Schwartz, a great job. And it's so crazy how like he was just brought on to kind of do the testing for Sonic, and then afterwards you're just like, oh no, you have the part. And he's like, wait, but who are you getting? No, it's you. You have the role.
He's
Which I
also
think is awesome.
he and Bill Hader did the voice of BB-8. They kind of came up with that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah.
but
I didn't know that.
yep, you're welcome.
Yeah. I
Also
wonder
known
if we're
as
gonna
John
see.
Ralphio.
I wonder if we see Knuckles in this. What do you guys think? We're gonna get another character in there.
He's gonna
gonna
be the setup
tease
for the third one.
one.
True. Yeah.
got-
Right. Because they can.
It better be. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
What
better
else?
be.
I mean, what else? What other characters are they gonna bring in? Like, there's no other. Like, maybe Shadow the Hedgehog is really like the only other major
not.
name.
They could have Amy. I mean, listen, you don't want to go down the rabbit hole of our podcast testing the Sonic fan base over here, because they'll come up with like, oh, what about Sally Acorn?
Was it
And,
Big the Cat?
You know,
What's
all
the
these
guy's
other
name?
guys from the you could get.
Is it Big the Cat? Am I lying?
I
Is that
mean,
his name?
All the guy.
All right, cool.
No, yeah, it's Big the Cat. You know, you get Scratch and Grounder from the old like Snoopy.
You can get that big orca that was in Sonic Adventure, which is
Yeah, the big whale from the first level.
I think it was awesome. I remember playing
Like,
that on my
sure.
on my Sega Dreamcast. I was like, "This is crazy! Sonic is on a new level."
Sonic
Dude,
and
it was
3D is
awesome.
bomb, dude.
Well, for a bit, for 2 games, it was great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for 2 games worth.
Speaking of great games and movies, The Last of Us has casted the roles of Ellie and Joel. All right, so we're gonna have Mr. Mandalorian himself, Pedro Pascal as Joel, and as Ellie, we're gonna have Bella Ramsey. You know her as Lyanna Mormont of Bear Island from Game of Thrones. Now that was a surprise to both of these things were a surprise to me, but I'm going to talk about Bella real quick. If you guys haven't seen Game of Thrones, this actress here, I think we're saying actor as a profession now instead of gendered. This actor here is amazing. Right, she's tiny, but she has a lot of power. Okay, if you haven't seen Game of Thrones, watch the first 6 seasons and then stop. But her character is the ruler of Beryl. Is a ruler of one of the realms that needs to come together to help defend the whole the entirety of the kingdoms. And she is in the role of a leader. And when you talk to her, when the other characters talk to her, when the other rulers talk to her, you can tell she doesn't take any crap. She speaks like an adult, and it surprises everybody. She's ruthless. When the battle went down at Winterfell, she was right there in the shit. Like, she wasn't like standing back. She became a lot of people's favorite character because
Criminally
she was just,
underused, like
Yeah.
in
Oh,
the
yeah.
show, like phenomenal every time she was the part of the show, but like definitely underused.
yeah, amazing.
Wait a second, a character being criminally underused in Game of Thrones?
Dun.
But what do you guys think of Pedro Pascal as Joel?
I think Pedro Pascal is now being typecast as this single dad role, and I don't really know why. Because it's the Mandalorian, and then it's Maxwell Lord, and now it's Joel, and I'm like, okay, fine. And maybe this is a nuclear hot take, but whatever, I don't care. Who's asking for a Last of Us like movie or show
I
or
am.
anything? Like, that game already has a complete narrative. What are we getting? The continuing adventures of Joel and Ellie? Like, is it going to be like between games? Like, I don't know. Is it just going to be a retelling of the game? I'm not interested.
Yeah,
in
but
that.
this
I've
has got to
already
be
seen
for
that.
like, so think of like Naughty Dog's like mission statement for the most part has been like, let's give big blockbuster experiences that you would get in the movies to video games. So like Uncharted was one of like the first times that you truly got like a character driven massive like game with a great story and amazing set pieces, and it was fun. It was, you're playing through Indiana Jones, but it was amazing. It changed what we thought a video game was, and that was wonderful. But when The Last of Us came out, it took those same elements and made an absolutely incredibly engaging, moving story. So this, like, I call these video games, it really is like playing a 14-hour movie. That's really what this is. And that means that a lot of people that would enjoy some, like, what they're seeing on screen, but don't, like, they're missing out if they're not playing video games. So it's definitely partially a cash grab. Like, I get that, but, like, if you're gonna do something like this, like, go for one of the greatest gaming stories of ever.
Yeah, I mean, start at the top, sure. I get it. I don't know. I just, to me, I've never technically played The Last of Us. I've watched Let's Plays of it, with and without commentary, and I feel like it's kind of a complete experience. Like, I don't feel like anything was lost about not being directly immersed or in control of these characters, watching their stories unfold in the way that they did because the narrative was so strong. I feel like I didn't miss anything. And maybe that's why I have such a bias against the movie, because I've already watched it and I haven't.
But I mean, it's honestly not for, like for you, because it's such a great, like, cinematic adventure. They're like, oh, we can, like, sell this to the regular public, and we've already proven that it's a great property, right? Like, you know, people like you who haven't played it but have watched it love it. You know, I've played through them and love it. It's a great cinematic adventure. I think it works as a movie. And I like, so get a guy in chat, Adam, your video game based show could be good, but it could be better. Do you love Pedro's character from Wonder Woman? Yeah, I personally don't see Pedro Pascal. I like me some Pedro Pascal. I agree with Booster Greg in the offline chat. They're like, I like Pedro Pascal, but I don't see him as Joel. I just don't see it. I do like the casting of Nikolaj Waldu, who is Jaime Lannister from Game of Thrones. I could see him.
Been incredible.
That would have been crazy. I see him more of it, and it's not because I don't think Pedro Pascal can pull off the performance. Of course, I just don't see him as being Joel. Absolutely not. I mean, he could do it, but that's not my ideal casting. I do like the Nikolaj thing better, and I like Troy Baker's tweet on Twitter about the movie. He goes like, "F yeah, can't wait to see what I learned about Joel from Pedro. Buckle up, y'all. We're going for a ride."
Listen, there was one thing that has always been for certain, is that we probably were not going to get Troy Baker as physically as Joel. So
yeah,
he's got the voice, but he doesn't got the look.
Doesn't have the look.
You know, I actually do think that Pedro is going to do a great job. I do feel a little oversaturated with Pedro Pascal at the moment in media everywhere. Not that he's not just like a delightful human and amazing actor. I think he's a good choice. I don't know if it's like the best choice. But that being said, the two showrunners that are going to be attached to this project is one, I forget his name, but he headed Chernobyl, which is a absolutely phenomenal HBO miniseries, and everyone should watch it because it's absolutely incredible. And Neil Druckmann, who was the director of both Last of Us as well, and it was recently promoted to being co-president of Naughty Dog. So you got someone that knows television, knows HBO specifically, and actually knows this tone very well, and then you have someone else that was the one that actually, whose mind created this game. So I have faith that we're gonna get something that's great, even if it does feel like it's rehashing something that's already perfect.
Yeah, this is for the general audience, and I think that they're going to love it, and they might demand more if it's good. If it's good, they're like, hey, I mean, what else you guys got? Video game world, you know what I mean? Yeah, for the Muggles. And the next bit of news here in the last thing we can talk about, this is interesting. You know how to transition to this. Speaking of the Mandalorian and Pedro Pascal and all that, there's someone from the Mandalorian who recently got let go from Disney. None other than Gina Carano, aka Cara Dune. Disney let her go after it's actually an extensive saga. Basically, she's a PR nightmare with her
absolute nightmare, and this is going all the way back to last November.
Yep.
Yeah, there's been a lot of fire things she's been saying on social media, and fire is in Woof. There have been a lot of things she's been saying on social media, either on Twitter or reposting certain things that she hasn't typed herself. But when you repost things on social media, you're co-signing it, right? So, like your local bakery is like, hey, come on down. We got these beautiful, beautiful cakes and pies. And you're like, hell yeah, repost that. That's you agreeing. That's you liking that. That's you co-signing that. Yeah, I'm going down there for those pies. I like that. Let's go. So her co-signing onto certain things, especially, I'm not going to say the latest thing.
You can say retweets aren't endorsements, but who are you kidding?
Yeah. So I mean, this is a long line of things, and apparently, what was going down was that for a certain amount of time in her career, as she got signed on for being Cara Dune in The Mandalorian, she's been making some posts and some co-signing some retweets and Instagram stories that can be seen as a lot of either conservative or right wing, maybe slash
or
a little
straight
bit
up anti-Semitic.
Yeah, you don't
Straight
need
up
to
anti-Semitic.
sugarcoat it for
Straight up
this
anti-Semitic.
audience.
Yep.
It's straight up anti-Semitic.
Well, I'm trying to use words carefully so we don't like have any buzzwords that'll ding us on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh no, I understand.
But this is there's no I mean there's no question about this. It was that's what it was. We don't have to go over the specifics of what was in there, but just know it wasn't good, and it was specifically for that reason. That was the final straw. Was something that was absolutely anti-Semitic.
Yeah, and it's crazy because apparently, like, what went on in the timeline is that each time something happened on Twitter or in the social media sphere, like Disney, where we would talk to either her reps or the agency that represents her, right? So when you become an actor, you go through a bunch of different things. You get representation.
That's going to be a past tense on the agency that represents her.
Exactly. Yeah. So after each thing, they were talking to either her agency, her rep, or to her saying, "Hey, you got to chill with this." And then the next time, it's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And the next time, and then it's like, and then this latest one, it's like, yo, we gotta get rid of you. You are too much of a liability. We were gonna give you your own show. We can't promise you not to embarrass us time and time again. She messed up her own bag. All right. Like if you are signed on with Disney, you got to play a ball, right? If you're signed up with Disney, there's certain things you can't say and you can't do. I mean, Disney is for everyone. It's for family. It's this like beautiful golden thing, right? And if you are online making certain comments and co-signing different things by paying posts and retweets, of course you're going to come down on you. You can't do certain things, and you were going to get your own show. If I were going to have my own show from Disney that was going to star me, and I'm already in a big old show, it's like, yo, Gina Carano.
I want to be a New Republic Ranger. Like,
yeah,
the fuck up.
I was about to call her Cara Dune. Gina Carano. You never heard of a burner account for all your craziness? You never heard of an alternative account for all your craziness on your own verified account? You're posting and retweeting and making all these. Of course, what did you think was going to happen?
I think the wildest thing, right, is that you do it, right, and then they warn you. They're like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this, and you fucking double down.
Yeah.
And just continue doing what you're doing. For what purpose? Because you feel like your voice has been silenced? You, a wealthy actress, like, who is on podcasts and all kinds of other things, you feel like your voice is being silenced? Like, get out of here.
I heard that the last straw was Jon Favreau, who is because like the repost that she made, like it wasn't her words, but it was a repost. You mean you like, again, like my example, you co-sign these things. It's basically you saying it. It got to Jon Favreau, who is Jewish. I didn't even know that. And he was just like, yo, I can't. This is it. I can't do it. Like there's no way, absolutely no way. It's the same thing when Megan Fox did a bunch of stuff about Michael Bay, and she used some anti-Semitic terms, and Steven Spielberg was just like, she's not working. She's not working here anymore. And that's what she's been doing, all them stupid old C-D list movies, not even B, them like low movies. I mean, you can't. You work for the mouse. Okay. And there are a lot of people who were surprised, like, oh, I mean, should they have fired her? Disney's a private company. They can do whatever they want. Yeah. And as an employee of Disney, I heard they have extensive contracts. Okay. And a part of that had to be stuff that covered this. I mean, you don't think that John Boyega wanted to say some things on his social media. You don't think he wanted to come out? I mean, if you ever read or watched his interview with UKGQ, and heard the things he said about, Rise of Skywalker, The Last Jedi, about his Star Wars experience in general, you don't think he wanted to go through all that on his social media? But he didn't, because he knew he had to play the game. He had to. He was working for the mouse. Gina Carano was just like,
and as soon as episode 9 was over, he's like, they ain't Disney Plus and me. Fuck this. Like, here's what I gotta say. I had a talk with Kathleen Kennedy. Like, this shit is not cool. Everything, all the floodgates open.
They did Boyega so incredibly terribly.
Yeah, and we're roots exactly. Don't be a liability to the corporate overlords. I mean, hey, that's just the game, baby. And I just can't believe it's just like
rule number 1: you do not fuck with the money.
Exactly. And how do you mess up your own bag? How do you mess up your own money? You were getting a show starring you from Disney. Are you insane? Are you out of your mind? Are you kidding me? I mean, you can't make parallels to what you think is your own political persecution to a genocide. It's not the same thing. It's not at all. And for anybody out there, if you have a a struggle or fight you're going through, I mean, using the Holocaust is not the way to go.
There's a way to talk about complaints with political correctness, PC culture, that isn't inflammatory to the point that you're using violent language. So there, I think Stephen Fry is someone who's very good about talking about his objections to it. Not saying it's completely wrong, but knowing what that argument is and being able to talk about it without just throwing gasoline on the fire because you're trying to stoke a reaction, because that's what it is, and it's unacceptable. So in the long run, this is the right decision. If this was going to happen, this was the right time when we're there, still working out what season 3 is going to look like.
If there's even going to be a season 3.
Yeah.
No, there's definitely going to be a season 3.
Well, the only confirmation we have of what's coming out is the things that were announced at, the big Disney Financier Expo or whatever.
That's true. The only thing we know is a low level someone. Oh, sorry, not a head writer, but someone that has worked in the writing room. It has said that there's going to be a season 3. However, that's not an official announcement that it's definitely going to happen.
There's a couple of good candidates people were floating around. Danny Fernandez threw her hat in the ring. She's like, "Look at me, I'm buff, I'm cool, and I'm not problematic. Disney, you know this. I work for you." And people were like, "Why don't we get Lucy Lawless in on this?" And I'm like,
I don't know. She's kind of older.
Have you seen what she looks like?
She still looks good. Anyway, let's quickly go around and talk about what we've been playing or what we're looking forward to play. What's going on? Let's start with Chris. What have you been up to?
I have been messing around with Sackboy: A Big Adventure, because you know what? PS5, not a whole lot of straight PS5 games that are out there right now that I really feel like playing. And I actually really liked the Little Big Planet series, Sackboy: Big Adventure. It takes a similar formula, takes them out of the kind of straight 2D side scrolling that we're used to. Feels kind of almost like a Super Mario 3D World type of deal, in the fun Sackboy kind of arts and craftsy worlds. It's just fun. It's just, I like my platformers. If you give me a game that I can jump and it feels good, I'm on board. So looks great, plays great. What more could I ask for while I'm waiting for June 11th for Ratchet and Clank to actually come out?
Hey, and Casey, what you been up to?
So Animal Crossing put out another update on January 28th. And it's really not much. You hate to really say that when burnout finally hits you on a game that you've poured about 1,600 hours into. But it's just okay, here's another holiday, collect the things and get holiday furniture. And I'm just I don't know, can I have something a little more substantial? The whole game is based around aesthetics. And that's the one thing that you can fairly microtransact. It's not like this is an online competitive game. You can't fucking pay to win Animal Crossing. Yeah. I mean, maybe you can. There's people online who are,
There's probably a way. There's probably
they sell in-game currency for real cash. I've seen it, but it's a one-player game that's about your experience of building a town. you should be able to pay more money for more stuff that should be available. It's already like the best-selling game on the system after Mario Kart, I think. If not the top-selling one, like it's doing gangbusters.
Also, give me another Mario Kart, please.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
please. Yeah.
And a Mario Party, especially because of COVID, it'd be awesome.
But yeah, I'm genuinely fed up. Like I'm looking forward to more stuff that they put out. Like in March, they're going to put out Mario furniture. But guess what? They had Mario-themed furniture as far back as the GameCube game.
Now, Richard was saying, I think Nintendo wants to start development on the next Animal Crossing and let this one die. I don't know about that. This one's still popping, man. I mean, this one, you can keep this one going for some time.
They
put so much into this game. I don't think they want to kill it.
They
they're not Ryan Johnson. They want the past to die.
Let
the past die. Get it.
They put a lot of new life in the 3DS one when they released all the amiibo cards, because at that point it was like I could swipe in and get any villager that I want. They put in like a new like Tetris Puyo Pop type puzzle game that you could play. Like they put in thousands of pieces of new furniture, and this was 3 years into the game's life cycle on a handheld console. It's practically unheard of, and it's ridiculous that they're not doing the same thing for something like this, which will be a year in, coming soon.
I need to get back into Animal Crossing. That's probably what I'll play next. I am looking forward to Ratchet and Clank, but I don't have a PS5. So holler at your boy back in your funky. Anyone who has a plug, out there, just holler at your boy back in your funky PS5. But that's all the time we have for this episode of Button Smash. Thank you all for staying tuned here on twitch.tv/WeAreRogueMatter. Listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you listen to a podcast, such as Spotify. Thank you everyone who's been tuning each and every week as we talk to you straight from our chest. Together we strong. We so strong. We will see you guys later, or we will see you another time.